Hello and welcome to the Try Talking Sport podcast hosted by me, Joanne Murphy. Whether you are an athlete, adventurer, endurance enthusiast, or simply have an interest in sport, you have come to the right place for inspiration, encouragement, motivation, and plenty of entertainment. Well, hello May and hello sunshine. Doesn't it feel so good to wake up to the sun streaming through the windows? It definitely puts a pep in my step when I see the bright mornings and the blue skies. Although it's not very conducive to getting any work done, as I just want to be outside, out and about, gallivanting and not sitting at my desk catching up on work. It might be time to move the office outdoors for 2023. Speaking about being out and about and gallivanting, we had another training day for Mondello 24 with the Cycling Connacht panel on Monday. 2 10k time trials around Hollymount in Mayo. A full gas, head down, arse up training session. It was tough going, but I surprised myself and I performed better than I expected. The consistent training since February has been paying off and can be seen in the numbers, which is always such a great boost. Over the past 2 weeks, I've managed to do a few brick runs off the bike too, slowly finding my running legs. I might just have to get myself signed up to a race at this stage before the announcing season really kicks in, and I've more talking than training under my belt. Next job, get out my wetsuit, get into the sea for a splash and see how all my pool swimming stacks up in the open water. If you are planning to race and still on the fence, not sure what to sign up for, there are plenty of events to choose from over on the Try Talking Sport website. With discounts on some events also available, be sure to check them out and keep an eye on the socials for some more discounts and giveaways over the coming weeks. If you are new to Try or a bit rusty on racing as you prepare for the 2023 season, be sure to check out the articles on racing over on the Try Talking Sport website. You'll find them under the Performance Hub tab. And whether it's top tips for racing your first triathlon, packing those blue, red and white bags for IRONMAN, or reasons why you should join a Tri Club, you'll find it all on the website. Before we get into this episode, a big shout out to our Emma Porter, who this past weekend completed the track at 360 in Girona, finishing as third female in this epic gravel adventure. Well done, Emma. I can't wait for the event report, although we'll give you a few days to recover before getting it done. As always, don't forget about our discount on Nuasan products. If you haven't checked them out yet, go to www.nuasan.com to see their full range of products and use the code TTS15 to get 15% discount. I made full use of the Nuasan CBD muscle gel after the time trial on Monday. It went straight on the legs after the session ended, and I have to admit the legs felt great after it. Now, this is a very special episode of the podcast, and I'm really excited to welcome Shane Williams to Try Talking Sport. The former Welsh International rugby player is a household name in sport worldwide and regarded as one of the greatest wingers and players of all time. With 87 caps for his country and multiple British and Irish Lions tour appearances, it is no wonder he is a World Rugby Hall of Fame inductee and a winner of the World Rugby Player of the Year award. Embedded in sport for most of his life, when he retired from professional rugby in 2015, his love and passion for sport continued, but took him in a very different direction. Taking part in his first marathon in 2015, it wasn't long before the Welshman became captivated with endurance sport, in particular triathlon, and more specifically with IRONMAN. Somewhat cajoled into taking on his first ever IRONMAN, he didn't have far to travel to take on his first full distance race at IRONMAN Wales in Tenby, which he has gone on to complete 5 times. First hearing the words, Shane Williams, you are an Ironman, in 2015. It may come as a surprise to hear that on an IRONMAN Wales race morning, he is more nervous than lining up to play for Wales in the Principality Stadium. But the goosebumps and passion he feels as he hears the Welsh national anthem resound on North Beach in Tenby is one that fills him full of the same pride, excitement and emotion he had as a professional rugby player. And when the gun goes, he is more than ready, willing and able to race. A high achiever in sport and competitive by nature, he is as passionate today about triathlon as he was for rugby during his playing days. Always looking to get the best out of himself and his performance in sport, life and in business, triathlon has opened up a whole new world for Shane Williams, and in his own words says, "I'm hooked. It makes me feel so good." Now, go grab a cuppa and enjoy the show. Shane Williams, welcome to the Try Talking Sport podcast. finally I get to talk to you when it's not a race day, a race weekend, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, a bit more relaxed, isn't it? I'm usually rushing around like a headless chicken on the morning of the race, or certainly the registration. More stressful than playing for Wales, let me tell you, that period. So yeah, I'm glad I'm able to do this with you today. A bit more relaxed.
I do not believe that it is more stressful getting ready for an Ironman than it is lining up for your country to play professional sport.
It is, I swear. Not only Ironman, whether it's my local sprint triathlon, whether it's a half Ironman, whether it's, I don't know, whatever it may be, an Olympic distance, there's just so many factors, isn't there? Look, you've got the swim to worry about, you've got the bike to worry about, you've got the run. So, things like, have I brought my goggles? Is my wetsuit ready? Where's my race belt? Where's the number? Should I wear sunglasses? Shall I not? Is it sunny? Is it raining? Do I need gloves? Do I need socks? It's honestly, even talking about it now, I've got sweaty palms. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And I always forget something. So turning up to the Millennium Stadium with knowing that I just need my boots because my kit is there waiting for me, gum shield, that'd be handy to bring. And what else is there? There's not much else I really need, to be fair. The ball's there for me. The crowd are there, ready, waiting for me. And I just got to go do my business. And, it's a 50-50 chance in that as well. When you're doing the Ironman, you're 2,500 to 1 odds on. So, it does. Honestly, I'm starting to sweat thinking about Ironman Wales, and we're months away, half a year away. So that's the difference, let me tell you.
But you love it.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I do love it. It's something that when I played rugby, I had older friends that I used to play rugby with back in the day, long time ago, that went into triathlon, ultras, marathons. And I used to laugh and joke with them, say, hey, go on, look at this end, midlife crisis, you've changed. I had friends who used to smoke like 40 fags a day that, are on keto now and are 6 stone and won't touch a beer and train, do 100 miles a week. And I used to make fun of these guys and girls. And then, whilst I was playing rugby, and then when I retired, I was like, oh my God, what the hell do I do now? I'm bored out of my skin. What do I do? And I kind of started running with my friends, and I was like, oh, do you know what? I quite enjoy this, even though I was about 3 miles behind them, and they're in the front laughing at me. But it's a great social sport, and not only the taking part, but the training side of it, the coffee stops and the places that you get to go and visit as well. And yeah, I'm hooked, as they say. So I'll continue to do it for as long as I can. But I really enjoy it. I think it's a great sport, and it's a great pastime, and everyone should give it a go.
Interesting how you say it's a very social sport, and having come from a team of 15 plus players, you'd imagine that was a very social sport as well, when triathlon is so individual. Even though you have sweaty palms, I can see your face and I can see that you're smiling from ear to ear when you actually talk about triathlon and the joy that it brings to your life.
Yeah, it does. It does bring me joy. I think I'll go back to say, when I did retire from rugby, I really had a massive void in my life where, I'd gone from training every day with my mates, playing on the weekend and, spending time with them after the games and so on and so forth, to none of that. I missed the lads, I missed the camaraderie, I missed the crack, and I missed the training and, and the physical side of keeping fit, and mentally I found it really tough not doing that anymore. So as soon as I started training and first of all, it was a marathon. I'd had a charity place at London Marathon, and I pretty much had, it was about 3 months to train for it, and I was panicking. So I started running quite a bit, and then enjoying the running side of it. And then I was running with my mates and we were stopping for coffees and a chat, and I was like, oh, this kind of fills that void a little bit, where, we could talk about your feelings and any concerns, or just have a general chat about the good old days, and as soon as I started doing the triathlon side of it as well, and people were going, look, we're going for a 40-mile ride today. You come in. I was like, I can't ride 40 miles. They were like, no. We'll do 20. We'll stop for a coffee. We'll have a chat, and then we'll cycle back. And, even the 20 miles getting there, I was looking for a taxi to get back, to be honest. But I start, it was great to stop and have a chat and so on and so forth. So that I started thinking, right, okay, this is okay. This can take over from my rugby because I'm really enjoying it, and it's just gone from there, and then signing up for ridiculous things like Ironman and half Ironman and so on and so forth. It just gives me a goal as well. It just tells me, look, Shane, you've got 12 months to get ready for this, because the last thing you want to do is fail. The last thing you want to do is let yourself and people down, and it gives me a focus, and physically keeps me fit, but mentally keeps me sane as well. And yeah, I do. I love it, and I want to continue doing it for as long as I can, because what else is there out there for me? I don't think I could do another sport, surely.
I don't know where to go with this chat now, because you're just throwing bombs in there.
I know.
I know. Stuff I want to ask you, and like we had talked about, maybe talking a little bit about your rugby career, but we're jumping over and back a little bit. You mentioned something about it being mentally tough to finish as a professional rugby player. That's a very common thing, really, isn't it, in professional sport, that you go from such a huge, high intensity, supported environment, playing for so many years with a very strong focus of what you're doing, to suddenly being left out to pasture to find your way. That period of adjustment must be very, very difficult.
It is. I can only speak for myself. I did find it very difficult going from, being a rugby player. I've been a rugby player a long, long time. Like I said earlier, training with the lads, playing with the lads, social events with the lads, 5-6 days of the week, to, waking up on a Monday morning going, God, what do I do now? I haven't got the lads for the support. I haven't got the lads to keep me sane and take the mickey out of me and have the crack with. That life of rugby where I did okay at, I was pretty talented at, and I was quite good at it. That does me no good whatsoever anymore, because, being someone who used to be good at rugby isn't going to get me a job, really, isn't going to get me, a trade, or isn't going to give me any kind of experience in the life that I'm going to have to live in now. And that is, the having to look after yourself, manage yourself, physically and financially as well. So I just got really lost and started questioning what I was going to do next. And I was someone that had already kind of put things in place. I had TV work lined up. I had punditry and commentary work, luckily, that I'd started doing whilst I was playing. So I was one of the lucky ones. I started businesses then as well afterwards that I, to be honest, at the time knew very little about. So that was always a risk, and that was always a worry. And that scared the life out of me. But then, like I say, that's another reason that I needed to find something else to do. And I do a lot of work with charity, and lucky I do, really, because the charities came along and said, look, not only do we do events where you just turn up and shake hands, we can get you places in London Marathon, triathlons, and these were sports and activities I knew very little about. So I was like, okay, well, London Marathon was always on my bucket list when I was younger. I don't think I'll be able to do it. I haven't run over 3 miles in a training session. I'm a sprinter. If you want me to do 100 meters under 10.5 seconds, I could probably do it. But, 26 miles is a little bit further than that. But they said, look, you've got time to train for it. If you don't feel you're ready, we'll put you through to next year's. And I thought, well, I was looking at my diary. Well, I'm doing nothing in April. Why not have a go? If I'm tired, I can walk it, surely. I'm not going to be, no one's going to be judging me. And so I started training for it and started enjoying the training, did London Marathon. And I thought, oh my God, that was the support I had running around London was like running out in the Principality Stadium. I had those goosebumps. I had those feelings. It wasn't the same. It wasn't exactly the same, of course. But I thought, do you know what, this makes up for it a little bit. And then, these other events came along, and a mate of mine who was sponsoring IRONMAN Wales goes, oh, you've done London Marathon now. You can do IRONMAN Wales. I was like, well, what is it? He said, oh, look, I'll sign you up, and let's train together. And, I signed up and then went and Googled Ironman. I was like, oh my God. I haven't swum in the pool since I was about 15. I haven't even got a bike. And I've just done one marathon that nearly killed me. How am I going to put these all together, But I just thought, well, you're a determined little bugger. It's charity. Let's train your socks off and see what happens. And that period of me training, I forgot about I forgot about rugby completely for a while. I forgot about, my stresses and my worries. And I just trained, and it was hard, it was tough, but, I was able to do it. There was no world records broken, let me tell you. There was times where I sat on the side of the road with my bike thinking, Shane, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? This is ridiculous. Mile 4, the marathon, and I'm like, I got 22 and a half miles to go nearly. What the hell am I doing here? But, I had people screaming at me, come on, Shane, get up and let's finish this. And I had my wife telling me, come on, grow up, you pussy, you can finish this. I was thinking, oh my God, this is horrendous, but amazing at the same time. And, I crawled over that finish line. I said to myself, right, Shane, in 12 months' time, you're going to do that again, but you're going to enjoy it and you're going to be far better at it. And I, from that moment, I was hooked. And I've continued to do it since. I enjoyed doing the sprints. I enjoyed doing the Olympic triathlons. I enjoyed doing the 70.3s. I enjoy I love IRONMAN Wales. And, I enjoy the training now as well. So it's rugby can do one. It's gone. Don't worry about it. Unless it's my boys under 14s game on the Sunday, and it's work where I've got to switch on for a little bit. Rugby can really do one now because I've got something else I really enjoy.
And that's so important as well, isn't it? That you find something that you're passionate about that can help you to forget about maybe some of the stressors or things. And that's actually what a lot of people say as well, that the long distance training is really good for your mental health and your mental capacity. Yeah. And it's not just about the training or the race day, but it's an individual sport, but it's actually everything that comes around with it. It's those hard days where you're getting mechanical out in the middle of the bog in Galway or in the middle of the hills in Tenby or way out where there's not even phone coverage. And it's about making your way to that finish line.
Oh, 100%. It is all of that. They say it's an individual sport, but if anyone who's gone to watch an Ironman or a 70.3, you see people running around hugging each other or helping each other off the floor, and okay, there's 2,500 people in Ironman Wales, and I'm a very average triathlete, but there's people of all shapes and sizes, sexes running past me, and I'm going, hi Shane, how's it going? How's the training been? And it's a race, so to speak, but it's you're all there together and helping each other out, and it's just a unique experience. And the training side of it, where I've just come back from Alcudia, where I wanted to go away for a week with the family, and we got there and we hired bikes, and we got to do the Sacalabra and captivated and all this. And I wouldn't have done this if I hadn't have got into the triathlon life. So we took a couple of friends, my brother went out, and we went out early morning so that we could go back and spend time with the family. But some of those roads and some of those routes are unbelievable. I felt fantastic doing them, and they were tough. Sacalabra is 45 minutes of uphill climbing, and you're blowing out of you know where, and it's horrendous, and it's warm, and there's people flying past you, smiling at you, and you want to kill them, and then you get to the top, and they think, "Oh, fair play," I want to shake that person's hands. So these are things I never would have done, and I live in the Amman Valley. You've got the Black Mountains at each side of me, and I've got no excuses. I can go for an hour ride, and I can see some of the most gorgeous scenery in Wales. So I've got all that, and that's what triathlon life brings to me, really. And I've got my brother does it as well, so I've got that on the social side of it. I've got all my best mates I've kind of dragged into, or have dragged me into it. I just get this feel good factor from it. And this morning, I was knackered, trying to get the kids ready for school, and I thought, all right, I'll take the kids to school so I can jump in the pool. I really didn't want to go to the pool. The pool's quite cold, and I didn't have quite the right mindset this morning. But as soon as I got to the pool and done about 1,500 meters of swimming, I came out there and I felt great, and I still feel great. So it's doing me good. It's doing me good physically and mentally, and I would encourage anyone to give it a go. A lot of people may do it and think, oh, this is not for me, or this is tough, I don't want to do it. But what I will say is, look, give it time, give it a chance. I wanted to throw my bike in a skip after Ironman Wales first time. I did, honestly. I wanted to throw my trainers away. The goggles were snapped in half, all the usual. But I gave it another crack, and I, like I say, I keep saying it's a great sport. I'm really enjoying it.
And of course, you have 5 finishes at IRONMAN Wales now as well, which is no mean feat for anybody, former professional rugby player or age group athlete. Everything is equal on the start line of an Ironman.
Yeah, I've managed to finish it every time, thank God. Look, it's physically that one of the toughest things I've ever done. The first time was horrendous, but the crowd got me round, and my wife being quite nasty to me was her kind of motivation, got me round. And I've had PBs and I've done okay. Even last year, sorry, wasn't the best day for me. I was going for a sub 11, which says a lot, where my first time was nearly 14 hours. I had a great swim in quite rough conditions. Took 3 minutes off my time in the swim. 25 miles into the ride, I felt great. I was over 21 mile an hour average. I thought, here we go. Today's the day. The weather was great. And then I hit a cattle grid down by freshwater, and unfortunately my handlebar snapped off the stem. And I just remember thinking to myself, come on, this was meant to be the day, So I was sitting on the side of the road for about 5 minutes. I thought, there's absolutely no one down here. No one's going to know I'm here. I could be here for the rest of the day. I thought, right, I'll try and hold the handlebars on and keep cycling and cycling. I kept stopping along the way, trying to ask people for help. Finally found a mechanic. Couldn't do nothing with the bike. And before I knew it, I was 60, 70 miles into the ride, going at about 10 miles an hour. All my mates were passing me. No one gave me a hand, by the way. That's the power of competitiveness on the day. And before I knew it, I had about 25 miles to go, and I thought, Shane, your PB's gone, mate, but you've never failed on IRONMAN Wales. Come on, your family are in Tenby waiting to see you come in on your bike. Let's kind of limp across the line here. So I managed to somehow get into Tenby, probably hour and a half longer than I wanted to, but that's life, and that's triathlon, that's Ironman. There's so many things that are against you at times. And I was perked up straight away. I saw a couple of my mates in the transition tent there, first timers, and I was so happy that they'd got to the run. You never know what's going to happen on Ironman Day. And we said, look, me and my mate Bright, look, let's run together. Let's enjoy this experience. I'm a bit stronger runner than him, so I thought I'll push him along as well, and I want him to enjoy this. And we did, and we done the 26 miles together. High-fived everyone. I made sure I gave him a tap on the backside when he looked like he was lagging. And it was brilliant. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. We crossed the line together. Well, I say that. We rung the bell on the finish line, and then he had this sprint finish to make sure that he beat me over the line, little bugger. But no, it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. And like I say, even though it didn't go well for me, the crowd were amazing and helped me along all the way. So but that's the power of Ironman. That's the power of triathlon. It's the crowds you have there, and the people spurring you on and just screaming your name when they could see you're struggling a little bit. Just gives you that extra little boost to just get around the corner and think, right, I can do this. I can finish this. This is going to be great.
Because you're so well known, is it nearly harder to be such a familiar face that you're like, I can't even hide around the corner at the aid station because everyone knows me. I just want to walk. Does that factor come into it that like, I wish I was incognito. I'm doing this in costume next year or something, Is there any of that with you, or do you feed off the buzz of the crowd and those absolute lifts that everyone gives you when they call your name? Now, I know the names are on the bibs, so we call people's names, we don't even know them, but we can see the names on the bibs. But from your perspective, you are a national hero in Wales, so everybody knows you.
Look, first of all, I love the atmosphere. I love the buzz, and I've already mentioned it. It's almost this, it's equivalent to me running out in the stadium and scoring a try in the crowd, and that's what I was an entertainer. That's what I was there to do, right? That's was my mindset.
Is that those cheeky side steps you used to do, Shane?
Yes, exactly.
Entertainment on the pitch with the side steps.
Yeah, I enjoy beating the defender, and when you play in those big crowds, you can feel the buzz of when you're doing something positive, and the crowd get behind you. I love that, and I've got goosebumps talking about that now. But I can't get that again. I'm never going to get that again, and I know that, and that's fine. But when you're running, or when you're cycling, then up through Saundersfoot, Heartbreak Hill, and you got people tapping you back, and they're going, "Come on, Shane." You can pick up those couple of extra watts that you certainly didn't have at the start. You get over the top where you're absolutely blowing, and you think to yourself, "That was amazing." But I think I've just worn myself out a little bit. I think I've gone a little too hard, and that's the crowd's fault, And then seeing family members or your kids running up the hill with you and screaming, "Go on, Dad!" It's just amazing. I love it, absolutely love it, and you're running through town then for the marathon, and you've got people you haven't seen for a while, it's old school friends or school teachers or people just you haven't seen for ages screaming your name, thinking, this is awesome. This is incredible. And then for the swim, you've got the national anthem being sung, you've got thousands of people on the front there. And obviously I've only done IRONMAN Wales because I love it so much, but to have that there, it's just incredible. But I will be honest, there is time, especially on the run, where people want to high five you, and you barely can lift your hand up, and you high five someone, they grab hold of your hand and just stall you for a second, thinking, "Oh no, I don't know if I can start up again." It does get tough, and you are thinking, right, where is there like at least 20 yards where there's no fans whatsoever, so I can just compose myself, have a little cry, and have a walk and get going again. But Tenby's so busy there isn't one. It's the best thing to do is just find a little portaloo and close the door for a minute on yourself. Don't even have to go to toilet. You just need to compose yourself, get away from the crowds.
But no, look, headlines after IRONMAN Wales, Shane Williams hides in the portaloo to avoid.
Doesn't come out. No, but look, it's amazing. It is one of my favourite parts about Ironman. The swim, even the run up to the transition on the bikes coming through Narberth and Tenby and Saundersfoot, and having that screaming part. You can't wait for it, And the run, like I said, there's just no hiding place. There's fans everywhere and supporters, and it just gets you through it really. And it's one of the best events I've ever done, and I'll continue to do it, and until I decide that I'm going to do one somewhere else, because I'm sure they're all fantastic, but the support is the reason I keep going back to IRONMAN Wales and Tenby. Really, it doesn't get any better.
I think we need to get you to Ironman Ireland in August some year. I think you'd love it with Windmill Hill, and you're living in the middle of the hills. I think you'd absolutely love it over in Youghal, and you could get the ferry over. Nice little trip. You could cycle over it.
Easy. It does look great, and I've spoken to people who've done it that have said it's great. But the last footage I saw of Cork was people pushing the bike up that hill because the wind and the rain was so bad, and I thought we had that bad in Wales. So
that was 2019. That's all been forgotten about. There was
doesn't happen anymore.
Redemption last year. It was hotter than Majorca for the 70 points, and the full distance it was amazing. So we definitely need to talk about getting you to Ireland. Not to take you away from Wales at any point, but Cork could be, maybe it's a little bit too close as a 70.3 as a warm up for Wales. I'm sure you would get as good a reception in Ireland as you would in Tenby. Sure, we're your nearest cousins. You'll be grand.
Okay.
Talk to me about the start line of IRONMAN Wales, because for me as a race announcer, IRONMAN Wales is one of the most special places to be. And I get goosebumps when I hear the Welsh national anthem. So, and I know that lots of people talk about it, but you've heard the Welsh national anthem when you've been wearing the red jersey of Wales, representing your country at the highest level of your sport. And then you're in your wetsuit standing on the beach in Tenby. Yeah. Does it compare? Can it compare?
It does. Look, like I say, I love playing for Wales. I love playing, especially at home, in the national stadium, and having that anthem sung out there by tens of thousands of people. It's amazing, and I love it, and still love it, and I still sing it when I'm there. But the IRONMAN Wales start, and it just hit me for six, because I was told, there'll be crowds down there, and the walk down is really exciting, and you're bumping into people, and it's like, oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm nervous. You have all that chat, and then I did it, and it was all that times 100 because the crowd. You know what it's like. You get that tunnel all the way down the windy paths, down to the beach there. Everyone's wishing you good luck. You got athletes saying, oh, good luck, I hope it goes well, and it's such a lovely warm feeling. And then you get down to the beach and you just look up on the wall, and there's thousands of people that have got up at stupid o'clock in the morning just to be part of this whole experience. And you stood there, and I've been lucky enough to have done it a number of times. My brother's always kind of been with me, so I've kind of got that support because it's nervous as hell. There's a lot of people on that beach. The swim is tough. There's a lot of people condensed and that are better swimmers than you and are far more comfortable, and it's nerve-wracking. And then the anthem comes on, and you're just looking up on the wall, and every single person is singing the anthem. You look around you, all the majority then of the triathletes are singing the anthem, and I'm looking up thinking, this just feels as loud as the Millennium Stadium to me. We've got less people probably there within the vicinity, but it's like an amphitheater. It's just unbelievable, and it's just really difficult to explain, but I'm looking at my brother and I'm thinking, well, I feel like, Tim, this is exactly like playing for Wales here. This is exactly how I feel, and I'm looking at thousands of people around me thinking, this is pretty much my singing the anthem for Wales here. This is just unbelievable. And, if you're not up for Ironman, then as a Welshman, obviously, if you're not up for what's to come as a Welshman, then you need to just take a step backwards and don't even bother going in the water after hearing that. It's just amazing. And then obviously AC/DC comes on as well, and you're thinking, right, okay, I could eat barbed wire at the moment. I can really do this. And bang, it's the horn goes, and you're unbeatable. You're indestructible, and you just get in there and you do the business, and you think, oh, what was all that worry about? You're halfway through the swim thinking, I've got this. Don't worry about it.
And Shane, how do you manage your nerves on race day, or how did you manage your nerves as a professional rugby player?
The funny thing is, I was probably calmer playing rugby for Wales than I am in IRONMAN Wales. I think, like I've already mentioned, really, when I was playing for Wales, I knew what I had to do. I had 14 other guys on the field with me that kind of would help me do what I had to do as well. And I was there to kind of help them. So I had that support. You just turn up for the game. You've got your boots and your kit ready. You've done all the preparation. The easy part is the 80 minutes that's coming ahead of you. So that was, I was really relaxed for rugby games. It really was.
It's an 80-minute game, but in a split-second decision, when the game is down to the wire, you make a mistake, it could be game over. Yeah,
true. True. And I did that a number of times. I made a lot of mistakes, and I've cost tries and certainly made errors in matches. But my mindset always was, well, if you make an error, just pick yourself up. The next thing you do has got to be positive and keep going. And that's tended to be the case. The best players in the world made mistakes, but the players that perhaps weren't as good would make a mistake and would dwell on it for 5-10 minutes and make another mistake maybe. Or perhaps come out of the game or go missing. And that wasn't my mindset. My mindset was, look, Shane, you're going to make mistakes, pal. That's the kind of game you play. But, you just make sure you do something positive and you make up for it. And, that was rugby. Even though I loved it, that was the case. But the difference is, that you've got 80 minutes to kind of rectify it, and you're there for what your capabilities are and for your skills, and you can kind of go and do that. But the whole rugby process and the whole, I suppose, nerve side of it, kind of the older I got as well and the more experienced I was, kind of edged away. Now, the day of getting your stuff ready for transition, or kind of going in and getting your number and all this, just drives me potty. There's just so many factors going on that, and also knowing, look, Shane, you're going into this sport You're not an international at triathlon. You're not an expert. You're certainly not an elite athlete. You're probably, when you look at the results at the end of this, you're going to be in the bottom half of results. But so you don't know this game. You don't know this game, and there's a lot to learn. And every time I've done a triathlon, whether it be a sprint, an Ironman, or whatever it be, I've always learned something new, and I've always made mistakes. So I've always got that in my mind as well. And a mistake in triathlon, it could be something on the bike that you haven't checked or you haven't done, and bang, you're out of the race and it's game over. So you haven't got that chance to rectify yourself. Even I go into transition race days. Have I forgot my trainers? Have I forgot my race belt? Stupid things that there's no way you should forget, but that's always playing on my mind. So rugby was far, far easier. I can promise you that. Transitions just stresses the life out of me, and the race day and race morning or the day before, it just drives me potty, honestly.
So how do you rectify that?
You learn from it. I've done things like forgot my race belt, and I've just had to carry my number around with me. It was a sprint try, thank God, so I was able to cross the line holding my number like that. Even last year, like I say, probably didn't check my bike properly for IRONMAN Wales. For Swansea 70.3, I had a service the day before the race, didn't check my bike, and I had so many things go wrong with my bike in that race. Again, probably put half an hour on my time, which was disappointing because you train so hard for them as well. I am competitive, but I'm competitive with myself. I'm never going to win IRONMAN Wales. I'm never going to get a podium on these events. But if I make a stupid mistake, or if I do something that I should have done better at, I'm real harsh on myself, and I try and learn from it. I'm sure within time I'll get less stressed. I'll know that I'm far more prepared. But I've done things like I've been unable to get my helmet off in a sprint triathlon, and I've been 2 or 3 minutes trying to scrape a helmet off my head because I forgot which kind of clasp I had on, and I finished the race and I've got cuts on my forehead where I've just yanked the helmet off my head. Stupid little things like that I'd like to think that I've learned from, but doesn't happen in rugby. So it's a learning curve. I'm still learning. There's so many factors that go on in a triathlon, and that's why I love it as well. It's not that you can just be a very good runner and win a triathlon. You could be a poor swimmer, or you could be a weaker cyclist, and I like that. It gives everyone a sporting chance, doesn't it? I've got friends that are much better runners and swimmers than me, but I'm better on the bike, and I can kind of make that time up. And we're having sprint finishes, which is great. And that's the exciting thing about triathlons and Ironman as well. It's unless you're a Brownlee that are pretty good at all of them, it's fair game.
You mentioned some of your friends, and we've met some of the former international rugby players that have been on the start line and the finish line of IRONMAN Wales. So, when the lads see your number coming up on their phone now, do they think, "Oh, he's going to make me do IRONMAN Wales this year"? I mean, do they ghost you, or are people willing to pick up the phone when you ring them, knowing that potentially you're going to convince them to come and join you on the start line at an Ironman?
Yeah, I bore the pants off my former rugby mates. I really do. I've become one of those people that like talking about Ironman a lot, and I didn't want to be one of those.
I wouldn't have thought that now.
Yeah, I know. I'm boring the pants off you, so that says it all. But no, I've become one of those people, I'm afraid, and I wasn't the first. Andy Moore, as a former scrum half, has done it, and I've been chasing him around the circuit for years. You've got Paul Arnold, that has done every single IRONMAN Wales, who's a legend in the game as well. That you're chasing him on the swim and the bike as well, and hoping to catch him on the run. Chris Stevens, former teammate of mine in Wales A, very good triathlete, and has had a couple of injuries of late. It was close to a sub-11 triathlete, which says it all, really. Yeah, but I got Ryan involved a couple of years ago, and Ian Goff, and they didn't talk to me for some time after that because it was one of the toughest things they've ever done. But they've continued to stay in the game. They do still swim and cycle, and perhaps not run so much. I think I blew the knees off them back in 2018, unfortunately. And I'm still, good mates of mine, the likes of Mike Phillips, James Hook, and Lee Byrne. I'm always talking to them about it, and they just tell me to shut up now, to be honest with you. So, and away from the rugby side, I got my brother involved. I got a couple of mates of mine involved that to be honest, I thought would never, ever look at doing triathlon. But again, my friend Brian, I mentioned earlier, finished it last year. We nearly crossed the line together. That was great. That was good fun. So, it just goes to show anyone can do a triathlon. Anyone can compete. Anyone can go out there and enjoy themselves and enjoy the experience. And like I say, I got men beating me, women beating me. I've got larger people that you'd look at and think, look, that person doesn't look like a triathlete. But I put in half an hour on people who are 6 stone soaking wet, and you're thinking, wow, this really is a sport for anyone, and I love it. I love that side of it. I love it's weird as well. I love the fact that I'm just an average Joe as well in this sport. I get people going past me and I'm thinking that person shouldn't be beating me. And then I try and put my foot down and run with them and realize, hold on a minute, that person's running 6-minute mile in here. I'm going to kill myself if I don't slow down, and just crossing the line and having a handshake or a hug with someone you've never met in your life. It's just, that's what it does to you. It's just a bizarre sport, I think. And an Ironman again, and it's elevated again because there's so many people doing it. There's probably so much more at stake. You've trained a year or 2 years to take part in this, and you see people crossing the line, crying, hugging, and just full of joy. And you're thinking, that's great. Look how good that's making that person feel. And it does the same for me. So it's a great sport.
People wonder why I love my job.
Yeah, no, exactly. You get to see it all, don't you? And you've probably got far more experience than I have in it. But it just makes me feel so good, and that's whether I've had a PB, whether I've had a tough time on the course, whether or not I'm sore as hell or I'm feeling fresh crossing that line. Once I've crossed that line, and you just look around and think, wow, that's amazing, I've done this. And you think about the mileage you've covered, or you just think about how quick you've gone on the bike, or what minute miling you were running, or the fact that you've completed the swim first and foremost. You think, wow, I've done something really, really unbelievable here. And you've got that buzz for days. And Ironman, that on the Monday, if you stay in Tenby, you're bumping into people as well. They're still walking around with their medals on.
Shuffling.
They're so proud of it.
They're shuffling.
Yeah.
They're not even walking. They're shuffling.
Exactly. Well, they're floating, and they're there with their beer in their hand or their soft drink or whatever they may be doing, and they're just talking about, I didn't think I could do that swim. I didn't, and I've done it in an hour. Or that bike ride was tough. But when I got to Tenby and Saundersfoot, and I went up Heartbreak Hill, I was just, wow, this is amazing. I flew up there and to cross the line and have my name scream out, you are an Ironman. It's just like, I get so many good stories from the whole experience, and that's the reason I keep going back.
Would the World Championship qualification also be drawing you back? Maybe would you, if you got a slot to the World Championship, would you take it?
Yeah, 100%. That would be the cherry on the cake, wouldn't it? I think I got some work to do. Certainly got to get under 11 hours for my age group to kind of qualify, and it's something I would love to do. It would say that all my hard work is paid off, and again, it is that goal. It's always in the back of my mind, and I would love to be able to say, look, I have qualified to a World Championship. Something I certainly didn't think I'd be saying after retiring from rugby. But it's always there. It's always there, and if the opportunity comes, I'll certainly take it. But that would mean I would have to have a really, really good day in the office. I know, I push my body to the limit in these races, and my best is 11:19, and I'd have to knock a lot of that. That would be 5 minutes off my swim, 15 minutes, 10 minutes maybe off my bike, and I'd have to really, really have a PB on the run. And we all know how difficult the run is after all the before stuff. So I genuinely do think it's doable, but I'm gonna have to, I'm really gonna have to work my socks off leading up to it and up to Wales and of course on the day. So if it happens, brilliant, and I will be chuffed and I'll be taking my place. But if it doesn't, I'll keep kind of chasing that dream, but making sure I still enjoy IRONMAN Wales at the same time.
And so for the rest of this year, I suppose the season is only kind of kicking off in the next couple of weeks. IRONMAN Wales is on the plan. What else is there for 2023?
Yeah, I've done my first triathlon. I sponsored my Amman Valley Triathlon, which is a sprint tri in my local school and leisure centre. That's always fun because it's great for first timers because they get a pool swim, and it's a flat route, and they know the area as well, and have run and cycled it a lot. So that's always lovely because you're seeing a lot of that first timers. So that was fun. We've got Llanelli Tri coming up in May. That's about 3 weeks away. That's always a fun sprint tri as well, which with a little bit of a longer swim. I do Swansea Tri every year as well. I've got Swansea Half Ironman, which is a lovely little route as well with a flat run on the coast, Oystermouth Road, plus a few other dotted in between as well. I do a lot of work with Activity Wales as well. So we've got the long course, which is the Ironman split into the 3 days over the weekend, which is great for people who are looking to do an Ironman maybe and are a bit concerned whether or not they can do the distances. That always helps. We've got Fishguard as well, the half Ironman distance. That's a toughie. Always tough conditions.
Before you get to Wales.
I know, but I'm going to taper down, I promise, for end of July, August, ready for September. And then the big one for me is IRONMAN Wales, where, I'm not too concerned about my times and how I do in the others. It's all building up to September and hoping my handlebars don't fall off.
Have you a new bike?
I've got a new bike. I'm lucky. I asked Geraint Thomas for a favour, so I owe him one now. So he's managed to get a Pinarello Bolide for me from the team, which is great. I'm hoping it goes as fast as it does whilst it was in the team. I don't think it will, but I've got a Pinarello Bolide at the moment. It's lovely. It's really nice. I've only done the Amman Valley Tri on it, and that was a tester because I'd only had the bike the week before. That was lovely. Had a PB on the bike there, so mindset is this bike's faster. I don't know if it is or not, but it's. I'm hoping this. I get a touch of luck this year. I didn't have the best of luck last year, but come on, you make your own luck, don't you? So I'm busier is what I'm trying to say. I've also been invited to New York Marathon in November. We'll see how I recover after IRONMAN Wales, but it's look, I am busy. I enjoy being busy.
You're also involved with quite a number of different businesses. You mentioned it earlier that, you had a number of plans made whilst you were playing professional sport. So, you're Agilis Sportwear, I can't even pronounce it, the Perthen Spirit that you have set up as well. Loads of bits and pieces ongoing. So how do you get the balance right? So you've mentioned 1 million races there before you ever get to September to Tenby.
Yeah.
And you've the kids and your wife and life in general and the lads. How do you get the balance right to manage all of it? You've had for so many years, your focus was just rugby. Get up, train, recover, match day, recover, train. And now suddenly it's like this explosion of a world. So how do you get it right? Or do you get it right?
Yeah. Well, you don't get it right all the time, do you? I think rugby was easy, exactly for that reason. I was told what I was doing in training. I was told who I was playing on the weekend. I was told what I was meant to be eating and how I was meant to behave. And great. I'm good at following orders. Ask the wife. So that was easy. That was honestly, that was so great and fun, but easy at the same time. And when I retired, again, it was one of those things where I thought, oh, hold on, I got to manage myself now. This is tough. But you've got to. You've got to. It's as simple as that. If you don't, it'll all come crumbling down. And I got a family business which is heating oil, which is the transition my family have made with myself. We've got the low percentage spirits called Perthen. I've got a Fab Four coffee company which I've started with James O'Cleburn and Mike Phillips as well, which is fun. Testing at times, but it's fun. And of course, I do the TV work and that side of it as well. I've also got a property development company as well. So I am juggling. I am. Agilis is something that I wanted to do myself, because I was spending so much time doing the triathlon, cycling, so on and so forth. I thought, when I was playing rugby, I had to wear other people's brands. I'm fed up with doing that. Yeah, I want to do my own thing. So I started Agilist during lockdown, and triathlon kit and cycling wear, and it's fun. It's real fun, and I feel really proud when I'm running something which is something I've kind of developed and made myself. So that's fun, and that coincides with the training, so on and so forth. But yeah, it is hard. It is hard. I think what I don't have is a 8 till 5 job or a 9 till 5 job. I can kind of manage my days. I can say, right, okay, I can go swimming this morning, but tonight I've got to do an interview, which is today, which is happening today. I can do swimming this morning, but I've got a little bit of time to speak to yourself, and then I can go to Cardiff and interview a person regarding a campaign that I'm doing. And tomorrow, I may be doing some work with the coffee. I'll spare 3-4 hours in the morning, and then hopefully I'll have time in the evening then to go for a little run with my brother and a couple of the boys. It is hard, but I think I'm lucky in that sense that a lot of my friends are 9 till 5, and they're either going at 6-7 o'clock in the morning to do their training, and then getting home and then going for a 40-mile bike ride, and they got their wives screaming in their ears, going, "Hold on, you've been at work all day. Look after the kids." I've got the luxury that I don't really have to do that. I can manage. I can say, look, I could take my boy to rugby training. My daughter's got something in school, and during that hour, maybe I can go and run around the track, and so I think I'm lucky in that sense that I can kind of manage my time, and it works. There are days where I do a lot of traveling as well with the rugby, or with charities, or whatever it may be, and I can't train. And if on a day where I don't train, and I'm pulling my hair out, thinking, no, this is tough. But take the rough with the smooth, I suppose.
Okay, next up, I want to know, who were your favourite Irish players to play with on the Lions team? Mind you, we haven't actually talked particularly or specifically about your rugby career at all. We've swung in roundabouts around it, but this is definitely, I want to know, who are your favourite Irish players to play with on the Lions team?
Yeah, this is the boring side of it for me now. Look, I got on really well with the Irish boys. I really did. I knew Tommy Bowe because he played at the Ospreys with me as well. So fond memories of Tommy, and a good mate of mine. Paul O'Connell, scary to look at, but a lovely, lovely bloke. Jordan Murphy in 05, spent a lot of time with him, and of course, Dad, Gordon Darcy. Brian Bod, top man. Ronald O'Gara, funny, but I probably spent more time with the likes of probably Brian O'Driscoll, who, like me, used to enjoy a pint. We used to love a social pint and spend a bit of time together. And obviously, he's pretty much been on all the Lions tours because he's that good a player.
He took up a bit of triathlon last year as well. He did a relay in Triathlon. He did the bike section. So I think you could probably put in a call with Brian O'Driscoll and maybe get him on and have an Ironman with you as well. So not only are you infiltrating the Welsh team and turning them into triathletes, but you might get a few of the Irish lads across to Ironman.
Yeah. The thing is, I pick and choose who I invite. I pick the guys I think I can beat. Brian to me is a dark horse. I obviously don't know what his swimming's like, but he was always a fit runner. I don't know about his cycling, but yeah. Let me find out. Let me do a bit of research on Brian first to see how good he is before I invite him.
Okay, that's your homework. Speaking of Ireland, you came across and played a bit of GAA in the toughest trade in 2017 up in Glenswilly in Donegal. Yeah,
brilliant. What an experience. I knew very little about the game. I certainly, I knew it was an amateur sport in Ireland, but you look at the amount of people taking part in it and do it, it's just incredible. So to do something like that was fun. I didn't know what to expect at all. I didn't realise that Donegal or Glenswilly was probably the coldest place on earth. So that was the shock to the system. Didn't realise how big a gaelic football pitch is. I've never run so much in all my life. I obviously didn't know the rules. And I didn't realise how physical a sport it was until my first training session, where I'm just getting elbowed in the face and no one held back at all on me. But having said that, absolutely loved it. The whole town embraced the programme. They certainly embraced me. The players were great fun. We had a great crack. We had a couple of pints together in the week as well. And I can see why so many people play the sport. It's brilliant. It has it all. it's like mixing rugby and football together, and a bit of boxing in between, I think. But no, a wonderful experience. I really enjoyed my time there. I think the funny thing was we took the day of the game. I think it was a local rivalry game as well. And again, I kind of had a couple of days to learn it. And we got to the ground. I thought, okay, this is great, no problem. We got changed, and as we came out to kind of come out onto the field, it just blew a gale, and it was snowing. I don't know. It just seemed like I don't know. It was like someone had turned on the fan and the snow machine. The snow was coming down sideways, and I was like, "Where the hell has this come from?" To the point where we were running around, I couldn't see anyone. So I was just punching the ball and kicking the ball to noises all game. But look, it was great fun. I really enjoyed it. Going into something that you don't know anything about or know very little about, it was always quite scary and intimidating. But I came off the field and I just loved the whole experience. The people of Glenswilly and Donegal were lovely. They were fantastic. Really enjoyed it.
And so, Shane, this now brings us straight into the audience questions. So Adam Spear asks, which is tougher, IRONMAN Wales or playing Gaelic football for Glenswilly?
Oof. Luckily, Gaelic football for Glenswilly didn't last as long, but it was tough. It was physical. Yeah, I was getting barged off the ball. I just didn't, because I didn't know all the kind of, the cheat lines, I'd call them, and I didn't know the protocols. It took me like 10 minutes to realize, right, Shane, you're actually allowed to kind of barge into people and get aggressive and physical. As soon as I got that, I was like, right, okay, I'm all right here. I'll do okay, But look, it was tough. Don't get me wrong. It's not for the faint-hearted, but Ironman lasts a little bit longer and it's a bit more painful in the end. But both very enjoyable.
Michael Noon in Galway says, by all accounts, Shane was a very good soccer goalkeeper. Does he think he could have played in the Premiership and for Wales in that code?
Well, I started as a goalkeeper, and I was a very good goalkeeper when the goals were a little bit smaller and the children were a little bit smaller. Unfortunately, the goals grew and I didn't. And the coaches quickly decided that goalkeeping wasn't for me. So I became a left winger. I was pretty good. I played a number of seasons at senior level before starting rugby. I played against Swansea City. I had a trial match against Swansea City as well. And who knows? I think if I'd have kept at it, maybe. I think I might have been a bit more richer now if I had. If I'd have gone the Gareth Bale route, what ifs and all that. But who knows? I think I did okay by selecting rugby in the end, and rugby's done me okay. So I got no regrets.
Darren on Instagram wants to know, how much training do you do leading up to an Ironman, and what hours would you be doing?
At the moment, I'd be doing about 8 to 9 hours a week. I look at people on Strava, and some people are doing double that, and I just think they've got to be unemployed or don't want to work or rich. I have no idea how they do it. So yeah, it is a lot of training. Obviously, the closer we get to Ironman, apart from the tapering down, you're doing 12 hours plus, I imagine. But in that sense, like I say, I'm never going to be winning these events, and I realize as well sometimes family and work comes first. But I try and train every day and try and fit as much as I can in, and try and stay to a planned structure as much as I possibly can. But it's starting to ramp up at the moment. I am noticing now May's coming. My rides are going to be a little bit longer, my runs and my swims as well. So it's going to get tough real quick, I think. But quite a lot of hours, but probably not as much as some of these people who are absolutely fixated in not seeing their family.
Jay Luke, my fellow announcer at Ironman, would like to know, Shane Williams the movie, who would play you?
I don't know, to be honest. I height restrictions and all that. Maybe Danny DeVito. I have no idea. Look, what movie would they do about me? I have no idea. I think they did a movie about me. It's called Willow. No, I have no idea. I think Tom Cruise is about 5 foot tall, isn't he? He's probably the same age, and he's got the same teeth, and that's the only comparisons I have. So maybe he could.
Okay. Now, Niall Layden in Galway is a mad rugby fan, and he did give me one question, but I think we've run out of time to ask it. I'm going to give you his second question, which was, do you prefer Scotch or an Irish single malt?
Oh, you've had me on something here that unfortunately I do not like whiskey. I know a lot. I know you may lose a couple of followers
Well,
and
you may lose
subscribers
a
now.
couple of
Yeah,
followers. You may lose a couple.
it's. I think when I was very very young, a friend of mine, we snuck into the drinks cabinet of his mum and dad's, and we put a Panda pop bottle of whiskey together, and me and him drank it up on the side of the mountain one day, and we got so ill and drunk. I have been unable to drink it since. So
okay, give me that one.
and unfortunately, I would have to decline on both. But I do like a pint. So if he does want to buy me a beer next time he sees me, that's not a problem at all.
No problem at all. He'd only be thrilled.
Or a Guinness.
A Guinness. I presume it's a Guinness that you want, like.
I love a Guinness. Yeah, I do love a Guinness. I've got to be honest.
Okay.
And I'm not just saying that because of this.
Well, we might have to test that when we get you across to Ironman Ireland.
Yeah.
Three last questions for you, and they're going to be rapid fire round. No time to think. If you hadn't gone down the road of professional rugby, what career do you think you would have?
I wanted to be a stuntman.
Why does that not surprise me?
Yeah, I always wanted, as a kid, from the age of 5 onwards, even in comprehensive, teachers used to say what you want to do, and I wanted to be a stuntman. I don't know how you get into that, what qualifications you need, to be honest with you, apart from really tough.
You could talk to Tom Cruise because he probably has some stuntmen. So, I mean, you could notes.
Yeah, exactly. So that could tie in with the last question. So, yeah, maybe.
Okay. Second last question. Your proudest achievement?
Becoming IRB World Player of the Year, 2008.
And who are your biggest inspirations?
Oh, my God. I think I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and unfortunately we didn't have the best of rugby teams back there. But I was a big fan of Ian Evans, and I think he's an incredible guy. But Gerald Davis and Phil Bennett are my heroes. 70s legends, up there with the likes of Gareth Edwards, and they've become legends to me because obviously I enjoyed watching them as rugby players, but I have met them since. And unfortunately, we lost Phil Bennett very recently, but a lovely, lovely guy. And Gerald Davis, he's a Welsh and British and Irish Lions legend, is probably one of the nicest men I've ever met. And I've had the pleasure of touring with him with the Lions because he was manager. So he's my hero, still is my hero. Fantastic.
Well, Shane Williams, thank you so much for joining me on the Try Talking Sport podcast. That was actually so much fun. I cannot wait to see you cross the finish line this coming season, and wish you the very best of luck with everything.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. You can get in touch with any feedback or guest suggestions by emailing me on trytalkingsport@gmail.com. If you would like to hear more great episodes of the podcast, be sure to check them out on our website or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow all of our activities and podcasts on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn and on Instagram. If you have any feedback or guest suggestions, please email me on trytalkingsport@gmail.com. I would so love to hear from you. Until next time, thanks for listening. Stay safe, keep smiling, and remember, as always, to look for fun and adventure in every day.